Hi, I'm Trooper Smacka.
Hi, I'm Trooper Wellman,
Please stay tuned for a behind-the-scenes look at being a state trooper.
and together we can make a difference.
Here we are live at the 360 Vegas studios with Trooper Talk with Trooper Wellman, Joanna May, and Christina from the Nevada Donor Network. Ladies, thanks so much.
Thank you for having us.
So, Trooper Wellman, this is the first time three people are here, three ladies,
Yeah.
right? We always want to give a shout out to the ladies because when it comes to the law enforcement, we always like to highlight that and recognize that. And no different than a man, but we always like to recognize that, right? And so there's a lot of things that are happening. So where do we start off, Trooper Wellman? I'll let you lead with the ceremony here. This is tremendous. I don't even know where to start, right? This month is the Donor Network, right?
Yes, so it is National Donate Life Month every single April, and we're so excited to partner with not only partners like you that support our mission to save and heal lives through organ, eye, and tissue donation, but also our law enforcement, first responders in our community that choose to be a part of our mission and really inspire others in our community to also be a hero like them as well.
And one of the things that we always talk about is the fact that you always do no pressure, right? You allow someone to make a decision, whatever decision that is, and whatever it is that suits them, right?
Yes, the biggest thing that I always share when I am out in the community educating and having conversations about donation is the gift is saying yes. When you say yes to becoming a registered organ, eye, and tissue donor, you have the potential to save 8 lives through organ donation and enhance and heal the lives of 75 or more through tissue donation. And truly, when you say yes, there are over 100,000 Americans right now that are waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. You bring them hope because you are showing them that you have that heart to want to be able to potentially give back one day when that time comes.
Joanna? We have met a few times in different environments, certainly with the children and things like that, and you're always very humble. and so I see you out in the public, never in the private moments, right?
That's right.
And so one of the things that we like to highlight on the Trooper Talk, which is very important, is the fact of never putting a trooper into a position where they could lose their life. And so, don't run from the law, don't drink and drive, don't drive wrong way, don't do things where you have to where a trooper has to put their life in the midst of someone. And so your husband, unfortunately, had to do that. And obviously, our sorrow is always for you and always has been.
Thank you.
But after this tragedy, you then had to, make a decision, right? And not in a personal way, but, maybe you could walk us through, I had breakfast, because that's what we always talk about when we on Trooper Talk. What did you do in the morning? Because it was just a morning, and then all of a sudden, at the end of the day, it's not the same morning anymore.
It was crazy. So if you're referring to July 27th, when all of our worlds became upside down, I went to the gym like normal. I tried a new class. I was just recovering from a surgery. I called the doctor to make sure everything was okay, had a pit in my stomach, and then I was on the phone with Micah for a solid hour and a half, 2 hours, because we were always in contact with each other while he's at work just to make sure he is okay. I've been on the phone with him while he has been in accidents while on duty, and we always let each other know that, hey, we're okay, we're good. And that day, after he had visited us at Albertsons to a surprise visit, he was going to run home real fast and run back out, but the pursuit was going on, and he got to Albertsons. We did a quick hi bye. Raylan was crying because he thought his dad was going to get out of the car and give him a hug, and he couldn't. Micah had to run. So after that was the last time we got to see him in person. And sorry.
It's okay.
So about, what was it, 12:30 or 12 or something, we were texting about my nephew's birthday, and Micah was responding because he does the whole voice to text. And we realized 10 minutes went by. My sister called me. She said, why haven't I heard back from Micah? He always is very prompt. And I was like, oh, he's deploying stop sticks somewhere. He's trying to stop a cycle person. And she's like, oh, okay, Evel Knievel, you know, he's playing Frogger on the freeway again because that was his favorite activity. Well, turns out I get a phone call from my kid's pediatrician, whose husband works in Nevada Highway Patrol, and she said, pack a bag, something happened, NHP's on the way. And I'm like, what? What now? What's going on? So she's like, Micah got in an accident, or Micah got hurt, and NHP's on the way. You need to get somebody for the kids. And I'm like, okay, this is great. All right. So I call my aunt. She dropped everything, got the kids. I was picked up by state troopers, and then we haul butt to the hospital. And I'm talking hauling to the hospital. And I about on the freeway, I'm like, okay, we're hitting up into the high numbers here. What happened? And of course, they're trying to protect me, and me being me, I need all the facts. I need everything. I need to know what happened, how fast, how hard, where. It's just me. So I finally tell them, I'm like, okay, we're jumping curbs here. Is he like on his last breath and you're like rushing me to say goodbye or something? Like, what? So they say, call his parents. I'm like, call his parents. Oh, crap. Funeral went into my brain. I'm like, gravy. So I call his parents. I'm like, I don't know what happened. Micah was deploying stop sticks on the freeway. He got hit, and now we're on the way to the hospital. I call his best friend, Marco, who was a retired trooper, and I tell them, I'm like, hey, Micah got hurt on the freeway, and Marco, you could hear it. He dropped. He's like, oh no, we will be there. We are on the way home. They live all the way up in Reno. He's like, we're dropping the dogs off, or whatever it was they were doing. We will be there. They haul butt down to Vegas, and they keep calling me. They're like, how bad? And I'm like, bad. So Tuesday night was everybody, everybody had the Pray for May, and everybody was here and supporting. It was great. I loved all the support. It was hard. I'm not going to tell you. It was probably the most challenging day I've ever had in my life, but the doctor sat us down, and she said he was blind in both eyes. She said both eyes were blown, and they got his heart coming back. But you need to have a serious realization. We're going to have a really hard talk tomorrow. Sorry, guys.
Be sorry.
Commercial break. These mugs are awesome.
I agree. Hey, listen, you can get them free.
These mugs are super cool.
Just tell everybody, look in that camera and say, go to troopertalk.com and get the free mug. You know what I'm saying?
Troopertalk.com. Get a mug.
Right,
super
there you
cool.
go.
So I knew right then and there. I was on the phone with Micah's mother at the time because they were in Massachusetts. And she and I both knew. She was packing her suitcase, and she started, because she was packing for, recovery, clothes. And then I could hear rustling, and I'm like, you're unpacking and repacking, aren't you? And she said, yeah, packing for a funeral, because we knew. I knew the doctor was telling me, but not telling me, I need to make the quality of life decision. And I told her, I was like, that I can't handle. Nope, not about to do that. So that night I prayed to God. I said, look, I'm not okay with what you're doing. I'm not okay with what's going on. So if you're going to take him, you take him. I'm not doing it. I said, I will not make that decision. You are doing it. You are the Almighty. You do it. And they did. So we ran the brain test. We ran the scans, all that. And the left side was a little bit. There was a tiny bit there. The right side was completely gone. I think vice versa. Either side. One side was completely gone. He was a potato. And I knew he was a potato. And I knew if there was a chance of any survival, he'd be on ventilators the rest of his life. He wouldn't be able to see, wouldn't be able to walk again. I mean, his whole body was just destroyed. So I knew deep down what my decision of quality of life would have been from what Micah and I had discussed previously, because married to an officer, you have to have these horrible discussions. But I was prepared because Micah was smart, and he always made sure I was prepared. I just prayed I never had to be. But so she gets there, we do the brain scan Wednesday, less activity. Do the brain scan again Thursday because me being me, I wanted to be 100%. Zero activity, pronounced brain dead. And I'm like, okay, good. I don't have to make the, oh crap, there's still brain activity, we can't class, So I didn't have to make the decision. Thank the beautiful Lord. But ever since Tuesday night, it's that stop at the grocery store, I'll never forget. That was a normal Tuesday morning. And I've never done that class again at the gym, by the way, because heaven forbid I'd do something new. But it was a normal day, and it just all of a sudden turn around, and our whole lives got flipped upside down. It's insane how fast. And I really need people to know to cherish your loved ones and always say I love you no matter how mad you are. Always say I love you when you leave. The last words Micah said to me was, love you, bye. And I'll never forget it.
We appreciate you sharing the story. It's something that we had the opportunity of having many troopers come on, and some of them choose to share about what they went through on a personal level, and some do not. But one of the things that's really wonderful is that in a time you were able to feel the community, right? And that everyone was behind you, and so Trooper Wellman, we talk about the Micah May all the time, and the helicopter, we could go through all the different things that happened that day, which may never happen again.
Yeah. I think what's somewhat crazy is just that, like, it's been over a year and it's still so fresh, right? Like, we've been through so much, and it's like, now that it's actually calming down, I feel like, there's still a lot going on, but now that it's calming down, it's almost like you're really starting to mourn it now, and like, how to explain it? It's getting quiet, and that's why it's important for all of us at Nevada State Police and Nevada Donor Network. We've really teamed up and just tried to be there for the family, and in any way we can, whether that just be a phone call just to check in, or just to make sure they're okay. But it's very important that they never feel alone, and that Micah's sacrifice is always remembered, because it's just amazing what he did for the community and after death as well.
Yeah, and we always highlight, all the fact of what Trooper Wellman does, with the kids in the car and, painting and, what I mean? Like, all the little things that, again, everybody gets an opportunity maybe to see you out in the general public, right? Which is really great, because you're bubbly and friendly, and the kids and, what I mean, and all that. But it's very important that we never want to put someone into a position just like you had to experience.
Yes, and I think from, our perspective, I always say this to Joe, and I'm so inspired by her vulnerability, because not everybody can, and it makes me choked up. I'm close to being married and all of those things, but, imagining having to go through something like this with my fiance as my husband and having to make these extremely difficult situations, no one understands that unless they're there. So for her to be vulnerable enough and have the strength to want to come on and share her experiences, it does inspire so many people to know to not give up, and to, be inspired to just share that story, because you really never know who can be inspired. And I always say that to her. I'm just so proud of her all the time to be able to have the strength to do that, because I know it's not easy.
100%. My wife tells me all the time, she doesn't, like, every time I come back from an event with Joanna or seeing Joanna, she's just like, I don't know how she does it. I could physically not do it. And I'm like, yes, you could. And she's like, no, I really couldn't, and I wouldn't want to. She's like, I wouldn't want everybody to be around. I wouldn't, like, she would want more privacy.
Yeah.
She'd want to, like, go hide for a little bit to mourn and stuff. And it's, and you know, I tell you, like Jody Jenkins, Sergeant Ben Jenkins, fallen Sergeant Ben Jenkins' wife, is a little bit more like my wife, where she is more private.
Yeah.
And she gave me the analogy of, like, I was like, you know, his anniversary's coming up. Can we do anything? Can we do a parade? And she's just like, you know what? It's not the best analogy, but it made sense to me when she said it. It's like a open wound, and she's like, I need this scab to heal, and I need to like heal, because we keep opening it, and it just keeps making it, like, it keeps hurting. And she's like, I need to heal. And so I know with Jody Jenkins to just tread lightly, and if she needs me, she'll call. Whereas Joanna, I try to smother her, and I just keep bugging.
Well,
bugging
and
her.
the thing, the difference in
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah,
Because,
100%.
You know, I am like Joanna, where I don't care how much that detail hurts me. I don't care what I need to know every single thing, because my brain cannot move forward onto the next physical one step
Yeah.
until I understand, and I can be down there in everything and surrounded and sharing, and that brings me comfort.
Yeah,
you know? So
I agree 100%.
it's like meeting everyone
Yeah.
where they are, but like that's what I've always shared, you know, just from my own personal feelings, is that I've been so proud of her, because irregardless, even if you are the bubbly, outgoing person, you're still grieving. It's just your form of grieving is being able to say this out loud and to bring light to their hope that they left behind, and to continue that legacy. So I think, you know, when it comes to grieving and losing a loved one, there really is no right or wrong, but there is what's uniquely important for you. And for me, every time I see her out, I'm like, I don't know how you do it, but I want to be like you if I ever
100%
have to, God
strength.
forbid,
Yeah.
in that situation.
And so let's talk about the kids. Oh, the kids! All right, so they have so the kids are now growing up, right? And you're a mom, and you're doing fantastic. Like, you know, everything. Well, you know, the thing is that from what I understand, you're doing fantastic.
I hope so.
Okay. And so every time we see those kids, or we see the video or something like this, they're always very respectful. You know what I mean? And so, you know, how is life now? I mean, it's tough, but it's, you know,
It's different. So my son talks about Micah all the time. He asks, and I will say I do have my grieving points. You know, I do have my days where I shut down and I kind of hide, or, you know, but with my son, he's just like me. He wants to know every detail. He asks me, he's like, what happened to Dad again? And I sit down and talk to him about it, but he's getting to the realization that his dad has passed away and he's not coming back. And he's getting bigger. He's going to start school this fall, which is mind-blowing. But we're getting through it. And I talk to Raylan a lot about, you know, look, it's just me now. I can't do 100 things at the same time. I can't help your sister and you at the same time. So Raylan makes his own breakfast. He'll make his sister breakfast.
so sweet.
He's been, you know, feeding her and changing her diapers since she was a baby because he had fun with it. And then turns out we actually needed him to learn. And anytime I have a new babysitter, he just makes Meldy's bottle. Anytime I don't feel well or I get sick, not that I really do because I don't have time for that. Yeah. Thank you, Zach Cam. So he came to me the other day because I wasn't feeling well, and he's like, Mom, I made Melody a bottle and I got us pancakes. They're in the toaster oven. And I'm like, I love that. Are you able to pull them out? And he's like, yeah, I got this. Don't worry. You lie down. He makes food. He knows how to operate the toaster oven. I'm teaching him how to make scrambled eggs. He gets everything and anything for us. He can take care of his sister, who's
Very
now
mature.
2. She's crazy.
Right.
But
All right. So this part here, what we do is we go through pictures and little videos. And so then we comment, and it's very fun and exciting and all that type of stuff. All right, you ready, Trooper Woman? Donate
ready.
Life Month, and then we're going to watch a video. What do you think of that? So my question, Joanne, is: do you have Micah's badge?
Oh yeah,
And what do you do with his badge?
it's displayed in the house.
I mean, do you like hold it? Do you feel it? When you feel it, do you feel a sense of him or something of that nature?
So I let Raylan hold it. I tell Raylan, I was like, this badge right here is what your dad had pride on. You know, your dad did everything he could to keep our community safe with this badge. And it's cool. I make sure it's protected. Occasionally I'll hold it, but it's his uniform that I really was attached to, I guess. Like, at my hardest moments, my goes there in his uniform. Sorry, guys. Man.
It's okay.
So, Mike, it's the whole thing. It's the whole uniform. And his car. That's a big one.
When you go to an event and you see his
Yeah,
car?
his car is a huge one. Raylan, it wasn't this year. We weren't able to make it because we had a soccer game. I'm sorry. But last year we went, and Raylan's like, I want to sit in Daddy's car, because that's where all the time was spent, was in Micah's patrol car. You know, anytime Micah had an inspection coming up, I would help him clean out the car, and I would reorganize the back because it was always a mess. So I was like, you clean the car. Let me just organize this for you, because I'm not having you fail today. And there was a lot of time in there, and it really meant a lot to both Raylan and I. So it was kind of like sitting in Micah's car was like a hug, you know, just the smell, it just still smelled like him. And that's, Micah and I met, and he pulled me over, and everything was to do with highway patrol and his uniform and in his car. So that's where the connection really felt. And I'm glad I do have his badge and all that. So that's kind of nice.
I'll never forget when we did the candlelight visual, and that was like one of the first times that we've like really met you and stuff. And you wanted to sit in his car, and we had put it out there. And you know, with the honor guard, you know, usually we take direction from the commander, but it was like an unspoken communication we had, every single member, and we just circled the car, and we all just stood there at parade rest, and we were just like protecting her in the car. And it was like so bittersweet, but like it was a moment that I will cherish forever. And actually one of our director's PIO, Kim, captured it on camera and took a picture of it, and I have that picture framed just because sometimes pictures like can almost like speak to you, and I just feel like that photo, you don't even know Joanna's in the car because it's covered with flowers and stuff, but like I know she's in that car, and I know that we surrounded her in that car, and it was like us protecting her while she had her moment. And like she said, I still leave, because I actually just moved his car this morning. I put it under our flagpoles for Donate Life Month, and I always have it on 92.3 because that was what it was on. And if I'm not mistaken, it was an apple Febreze spray he had in there. And so every time I smell that, I think of it. Because, you know, just like her, we all share memories, because I had to drive that car, sit in that car. I actually found a Post-it note in there months after everything had happened. And I had pulled down his visor, and I found a Post-it note in there from her saying, like, be safe, I love you. And so it was something that I gave to her. I was like, I found this in his car for you. And we'll say, like, those are moments that we think he's, like, communicating and showing her that he's here, you know, still looking after her. And that car is definitely very special. So
yeah. And Christina, you're able to share in all these ways because of your organization.
Yes.
Right? So, you know, your organization is front and center, again, not pushing anyone, but allowing someone to make their own choice, but you're there to just have a conversation.
Yes.
Right? And so it all starts with a conversation and allowing someone to make a decision, right?
Yeah. And, you know, what I hear a lot from families who, you know, decided that donation wasn't for them in, you know, personal scenarios is that, you know, versus families who do choose donation, for them is there's such a different path for them after their loved one, you know, recovery ends, and they move forward with the next chapter of their life without their loved one, is there is this legacy of hope that's left behind, knowing that they were able to give this gift to someone else, and they're able to spread that giving and that love that they had as the person who they were while they were living, but also once they've passed away. And I think there's just such a different type of grieving that happens when someone is able to give that gift or is a donor in spirit. It really changes that a lot. And I think obviously Joanna has her own experience, but being a part of our aftercare program, and we've had these conversations together, is she just feels like it's given her a bit of like a purpose, right? Where you can like, again, be such an example of vulnerability. And and I have my bad days and I have my good days, but I'm here and I'm proud of what my husband was able to do. And, I think there's just something very, very beautiful about that.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And for those who don't know, one of the reasons we're highlighting, not only is it, Donate Life Month, but I guess we really haven't said it, but Micah was an organ donor, and he donated 4 organs and saved the lives of 3 individuals. And that's why, I said he was a hero in life and after, because he continues to live on through those 3 recipients. And Joanna did, help with making that decision of, Micah was already a registered organ donor, but, it still came down to, what should we do? She spoke with his family, and they lived that, and they went through that process. And that's why she relates to these families that are going through these situations, and that's why her story is so important to share her message, because there's families that are dealing with that same choice. Like Christina keeps saying, they're in the limbo of what should we do, and sometimes just hearing from someone that's experienced it helps give you the strength or that comfort that you need to make that decision. And we, all 3 of us firsthand, know people that have received been recipients. And I think that was the real kicker for me, was meeting people that have had a second chance at life because someone like Micah gave the ultimate gift. Now it's just like a simple yes, absolutely, like no brainer, because I'm not going to need my organs or anything once I'm gone. And to know that I could live on and give somebody a second chance at life, there's no other more selfless act than to give the gift of life. Oh my goodness. So that's why we're highlighting Micah so much today for Donate Life Month. And in this video, I wanted our community to understand, when they see these Donate Life stickers on our car and they see our troopers wearing these pins, it's more than just a pin and it's more than just a sticker. It represents people that have given the ultimate gift or people that have received it. And that's why I showcased Micah's photo as well as Coral Otero, that's one of our troopers. His wife was killed in a tragic car crash, and she actually gave, I always say it wrong, so I was going to say the eyes, but you say it right.
Corneas.
So she gave
the gift of sight.
Thank you. And it's important, even though she wasn't sworn, she's a part of our family. And if you just start talking to people and asking around, we are all connected in some way to Nevada Donor Network, and it's just truly amazing what people have done for each other.
Yeah,
in the
and
community.
I think a couple of things that come up today that I find to be very important, like Joanna had discussed a couple of the very tough conversations that she had with her husband, him being a law enforcement officer. But even if you aren't a law enforcement officer, you should be having these conversations with your loved ones while you can. What are the things that you want when this time comes? Because it's not an if. Everybody will pass away one day, and to not know what your loved one is wanting, it just makes that decision so much harder. But if you have the peace of knowing that they're supportive of organ, eye, and tissue donation, they wanted this, then that makes one less thing that you have to worry about at that very hard time, the worst day of your life. And I think having those conversations also inspire others that maybe weren't sure if this was something they wanted, because even talking about death is hard for them. Yeah. And so just having that conversation can inspire someone else to say yes and, save and heal others' lives.
Yeah. So you had to make these decisions, right? And so talk us through maybe something of psychologically, how you you talk to his family and things like that, and then secondarily, when Trooper Wellman was talking, my other question was, so now your son is sort of old enough to realize what is happening in the world, in his world,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And so at some point, I mean, have you, or at some point, do you ever have a conversation with him and say, I just want to let you know that, your father lived on through other, like, do you ever, like, I don't know how, you know what I'm saying? So, go.
So going back from when we decided to donate Micah's organs, I always knew Micah was a solid yes on donating organs, and I will never forget when I forgot it.
Tim.
Yeah, I don't want to say it wrong. It's Timothy Hand, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I
From
will.
our family services.
Okay.
So he came to the hospital after that Thursday morning and he was so sweet, and he's like, I really don't want to have this discussion with you right now, but I have to. And I'm like, you're here for organ donation. Like, yes, absolutely. Hands down. Let me make your day easier. I understand this is hard. So it was the easiest decision we've ever made, just because, I mean, why not? Why not give somebody the gift of life? It seems so easy to do. It's
Good.
it's a no-brainer.
Uh-huh.
It's give somebody a second chance. What are you going to do with those organs after you're gone?
Sure.
Nothing. So, and I will go more into detail with Raylan about organ donating, but he is still trying to get the process of how a brain works or how his hands and arms work. So when he gets older, I'll tell him everything, and I'll give him more details, and I'll kind of show him a YouTube video of how, heart transplants, kidney transplants. I'll teach him as he grows.
Yeah.
And he has a gist, but not really. He's still 5.
No, yeah. And I only say that because, the fact that having children, again, that is part of these conversations. You know what I'm saying? And I know Trooper Wellman, we don't like to bring it up because Trooper Wellman's daughter, is so young, and the children is something that's very near and dear to our heart when we see, unfortunately, someone doing bad things on the roadways. And so it really, really, and so I think it's very inspiring to hear about your son. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next, go.
If I could just tell you one more thing,
go.
sorry.
We're going back.
Right there, the heart.
Yes, the heart.
I just wanted to tell you what that was. Silver
Yes,
State.
I'm so
Hero
excited with what's going on. Johnny, it's going to be 4 hours. You know what I'm saying?
So sorry.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
just
We have
wanted to
everything here.
highlight that, Nevada Donor Network, we were one, if not the first agency that they've ever branched out from just like, hospitals and coroner's office, thank
Okay.
you, and other things. We were the first responder agency that they branched out with, and we've been doing all these projects together. It's grown now in just, I think, like 2-3 years to now we had, I think, 32 first
Look at all
responders
of these.
statewide.
Okay, so these are all helping the Nevada
Yes,
Donor
to
Network.
make donation possible. And I mean, the partnership started from a donor family, reaching out to us and, just knowing that her son was supportive of donation, but he passed away at the scene of an accident. And just due to time constraints at that time period, we weren't able to make donation happen. And so, one of our team members was like, why? Like, let's reach out to Nevada State Police Highway Patrol and see how we can change this. And we were the first in the nation
Yeah, it's
to
a big
create
deal.
this type of partnership where they could call us and
Yes.
we could start following, different potential donors in this way. And so I just think it's beautiful what
massive.
it's turned into. So now it's really turned into a camaraderie, a sort of healthy competition just to reach their communities and show them we support organ, eye, and tissue donation and saving and healing lives. And join us. And they're posting videos, they're sharing stories of, officers on their team that have received the gift of life, just all different types of things. And it's going on this whole entire month. So obviously the challenge is to get as many people registered as possible using their unique link. But really what it's about is creating that donation positive culture throughout the state of Nevada. And I think it's great to see everybody together, like all different agencies, like just having coffee, meeting together for the press conferences that we've had to launch it off. I mean, there's a beautiful image on our social media, if anyone goes to Envy Donor on Instagram, of everyone up in northern
Look at
Nevada.
that camera right here and tell everybody where to go.
Yeah, so go to Envy Donor on Twitter and Instagram, Nevada Donor Network on Facebook, and you can see just like a huge group photo of down here in southern Nevada when we did it through Clark County, and then also up in northern Nevada. I mean, there's rigs that had came out in northern Nevada. They lifted a Donate Life flag.
Yeah.
I mean, just tons of everybody together. It's a beautiful picture, and
Statewide.
it's like when you say a picture could say 1,000 words,
Yeah.
like it's just so beautiful to
Yeah.
see the
and,
support.
And keep in mind, like, we're not obviously getting paid or endorsed or anything to do this. Like, we are legit doing
It's
this out of the
free
kindness of
time.
our heart
Yes.
because we've seen firsthand the impact it has on saving someone's life and, you know, also the impact it's had on losing a loved one, but them getting to continue to live on. And, yeah, we're just all very passionate about donation, and that's why we jumped on the. I know it's a challenge, but ultimately, like, it's all of us uniting.
Yeah, no, it's
to share awareness.
It's fantastic. So let me ask you, Joanna. So if you knew someone that wanted to be a trooper, do you tell them to be a trooper, or do you say, you know, go be a doctor or something?
No, I do have a friend right now who wants to be a trooper, and I say, do it. I actually thought about it.
Yeah.
If I didn't have my two littles. If I didn't have my two littles, I would have 100% signed up for the academy. Like, the day Micah was in the hospital, I was like, I'm going to sign up. We need more people on the road.
Right. So
Like-
that's the way you felt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely need more troopers. And side note, I do volunteer for Nevada Donor Network, which is a huge help through this process.
Listen, everybody look at that camera and tell everybody, if you want to be a trooper, go to NevadaStatePolice.com, okay?
That's
1,
right.
2, 3, tell everybody.
Go to NevadaStatePolice.com.
and become a trooper.
There you go.
Please, we need more of them.
The thing is, we're always trying. The Trooper McClarty comes on, and you know, to try to get more troopers, and you know, and all that type of stuff. And so we were just at the promotion ceremony last week, and so we like to highlight these things, you know. And so it's unfortunate that in what happened with your husband, but we always keep trying to get more troopers and stuff like that on the road. And congratulations for this; it's great. All right, look at this. I got all these funny videos. You didn't know I had all these, right?
No.
See? You didn't know I was going to embarrass you the whole time, right? See, look at this.
No.
All right, Vegas Golden Knights Donate Life night. Let's see what kind of video we have here.
It's your interview.
Okay. Well, that was obviously very loud. That was great. That was a great video. So, Joanna, you're there, and you got the Vegas Golden Knights, and all these things are happening. Christina,
Yeah,
what's happening?
Basically, we partner with the Vegas Golden Knights as well as the Henderson Silver Knights to bring awareness to organ, eye, and tissue donation throughout their season. Actually, with the Henderson Silver Knights, we recognize the hero of the game every single game. And we, for this night, invited some of, you know, our partners that are supportive to join the game. But it's basically throughout the game, bringing awareness to organ, eye, and tissue donation, obviously because of it being Donate Life Month. But Joanna was actually able to go on and, again, reach a new audience of people sharing her stories. She was interviewed, which I've never even done this type of interview. So I know it was, like, very different from anything she's done, which I totally hats off. And she's good. She doesn't give herself enough credit, but she's great at sharing her story no matter the medium. But it's just a night for us to bring appreciation to partners, but also, again, reach a different crowd and audience of people that are attending the games, inspire them to want to be a hero. And those glow sticks, if you've ever been to a game that has had them, they just light up the whole stadium. And that's always my visual and why I always like to say hope in, you know, a dark time, but they light up and they turn off the lights and everyone's kind of like this with their foam glow sticks, and it just looks so cool. And that to me is the moment that brings you chills, because that's what donation does for so many people, whether you're the recipient family, the donor's family, you know, you are the recipient and you're just impacted by donation. Like, it truly is hope in a very dark time in your life.
Yeah. And Trooper Woman, you know, we talk about these things, and, you know, so you sent me these texts of these videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so these are the special moments that a lot of people don't see.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like we do on the Trooper Talk, we say we just need to save one life, right?
Yeah.
And in this application, you know, we just need to reach one person. And so Joanna goes on there and, you know, she just has to reach one person that maybe didn't understand, and it will change their life.
Yes. And it's one conversation. I mean, I think everyone thinks that, you know, there's a big reason why someone hasn't gotten registered, but in reality, it's just they've never had someone that's brought it up to them or shared an inspiring story. Maybe they've never known someone impacted by donation, and that one story or moment can change their lives, and they get registered, and then they could pass away a week later, and then they're saving 8 lives through organ donation and healing and enhancing 75 or more through tissue. So,
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's that simple that it could happen like that.
And I was going to say at the last the IPOF car show where we had the Trooper May there, you know, his car, right? You know, the Nevada Donor Network has a booth there, and last year, Joanna, you were there with the kids, right?
Yes.
You know, what is it like? So you're there with your children, and people, you know, come up to you and they, oh, let me give you a hug. You know, your husband was great. You know, he did great things, and you're like, oh, okay, thank you very much. You know, and you appreciate it, but you're like, okay, like I've heard this 1,000 times. Like I don't need to hear it anymore. Like, or is it like a little bit of comforting in the sense that like he was truly loved as a trooper, and a lot more people learned about who he was, unfortunately, maybe after his passing, but that doesn't mean they still didn't love him the same, right?
Right. So it's kind of surreal when I do walk around, especially the IPOF events. I'll never forget the very first one I walked around. I got not bombarded, but a lot of people kept coming up, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize how many people actually cared. Or it was really nice to know that the community of Las Vegas, Henderson, you know, they actually really care. We all care about each other, which is nice. You know, you go to other towns and they don't do what Las Vegas does. Las Vegas and Henderson is a whole different animal. We actually care about people and we want to help, and the community helped us a lot. And that's what meant a lot for me. I was like, wow, you guys actually listen to what's going on. This is pretty cool. So it was heartfelt, and I felt loved, you know, comforted. Like, thank you so much for being here and showing your respect and all that. It was more, I guess comforting would be the right word, when I did have all those people. And the next year, the same thing. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow, this is still okay.
Yeah. And we know, and we always see that Trooper Wellman goes over with the birthday party, right?
Yeah.
Right, and she always has all the people there, right, Trooper Wellman?
The first year, yes.
The
I
first
did
year,
for both
yeah.
the
Right,
kids, yeah.
and so the thing is this, that the camaraderie that we feel from all the NHP, still coming to you, and having the Nevada Donor Network and sort of having new friends in that in this way, right? Very special.
Yeah, I will say life has done a complete 180. Like, it's mind-blowing that I look at life now, and it was 2.5 years ago, I guess almost 2.5 years ago. Crazy.
Yeah.
And it's completely different. Like Trooper Wellman always says, you know, there's beauty in tragedy, and I was able to meet such amazing people as Wellman and her wife and her daughter. I was able to get to know Nevada Donor, everybody from there, and you make new friends. It's a bittersweet thing. You know, we were able to make something beautiful, I guess, you know, I'm trying to think of the right phrasing.
100%. Out of a tragedy, right?
We were able to grow and blossom and turn this around and be like, you know what, yeah, this sucked, but let's not dwell and keep it sucky. Let's build something. Let's build something beautiful out of the ash, like a phoenix, you know, grows from the ashes, or, you know, whatever they say.
Yeah, of course.
And that's what we did. I feel like that's what we're doing. And I hope that I keep working with Nevada Donor Network, and I will inspire somebody else who's going through a really hard time. That's my main goal, is I want to reach people who are going through crappy times in their life and be like, look, this sucks right now, and it's gonna suck for a while, but you can build off of it. Build off of that crappy feeling. Just prevail. Just keep going and make something beautiful out of it. You can cover your kid in finger paint. Well, put a piece of paper on it and make a pretty picture out of it.
Right.
You know?
No, and the thing that I come to and I keep thinking about is that when we don't really have today, but normally we highlight different types of tragedies and things like this that are happening around the valley on our pictures. And so something that Trooper Wellman and I always talk about, we used to show people's shoes in the pictures, okay? And so, that was somebody's life. And so the thing is that we talk about, which is a very serious issue, which is not only the tragedy of a trooper, right? But the thing is that when people drive wrong way, when they do impaired driving, when they do these types of activities and they make the wrong choice, they're putting other people's lives in jeopardy in a similar situation. And now, Trooper Wellman, there's a wife, there's a mother, there's 2 young children, right? That now someone, we don't have to go into the whole situation, but someone made a choice, and now they had to put a trooper in harm's way. And so, we know you always talk about the badge, but now it's like it's right here.
Yeah. And we're always talking about, going above and beyond the badge or like humanizing the badge. And like when you look at this photo here, this is one of those examples of us like, this is us off duty and we're able to share this moment with Joanna and, again, honor Micah and focus on the ultimate gift he gave. And, you got retired Colonel Ann Carpenter. You've got, obviously Joanna. You have Lieutenant Colonel Martin Malesko, Major Schubert, Major Honey. You have, like, the big dogs that actually care and are there and show up at these events to also make sure she knows she's not alone. And that, I think that just speaks volume for our agency. And it doesn't matter if you're parole and probation, because that Major Schubert's with parole and probation. You got Major Honey with Highway Patrol. It doesn't matter what division you work for. Like, we are all one with Nevada State Police. And, in our family, we all, I think what I wrote on this, and it's exactly how I feel, is she's never going to stand alone. And we're going to make sure she never stands alone, even if it's 3 years later. And this was just an example of that. I mean, retired Chief Ann Carpenter, she hasn't worked for us for years, but she was a part of that ride with Micah, and so she still shows up, and that's what it's about.
Yeah. We had her on the show. She was really great. Another woman, right? We go to say,
Yeah.
right? It's shout out to the women, right? But it's very important. You know what I'm saying? And that's why what we do is, and that's why what we talk about is so important in changing someone's life. Oh, look at this. Another video.
Oh, this is from Henderson Silver Knights.
All right, let's see what this one is. Maybe it's
My photo's so cute. You hugged him? I didn't know you hugged him.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about
Felt like
earlier.
I was
is
there.
the hero of the games.
Yes.
I think Trooper Wellman dropped the puck at that game
That
too.
was so
great
cool.
puck
That was
drop, which was
amazing.
really
Yeah, that
I
was
want to hear all about this.
But yeah, it's just another way for us. I mean, throughout the season at the Henderson Silver Knights games, I actually am the one that's involved with creating the videos and stuff that we do for this. But we just share a little bit about the hero of the game, just a quick snippet to introduce their connection to donation and then why they encourage others to become a registered organ, eye, and tissue donor. But I mean, it's everyone from Advocates for Life, that's what we call our volunteers, Joanna, donor family members, to people that are a part of a funeral home in town that support donation, people that are a part of our coroner's office team, different first responders. So we kind of recognize a different hero throughout, the season. And it's just a really, again, a different way where someone's at a game. They're not necessarily expecting to hear about something like this. And then they hear about it and they see Joanne. I mean, one of the young boys that I got to recognize in February was he's a heart valve recipient. His name is Sai. And, he has a big, huge Hawaiian family. And so we were able to get them kind of a nice little area to all be together. There was like 30 of them, and just seeing him at 12 years old experiencing that, and being able to honor his donor hero. Every year they release heart balloons on Valentine's Day to honor the baby that gave him the gift, because he received the valves when he was so little. So it was a baby that was able to give him the heart valve and save his life. And they've never been able to be in contact with the family. They've written them, but again, such different scenarios. But it's such a beautiful way that's very simple but really impactful. And again, there could be several people in the stadium that have been thinking about donation or haven't been thinking about donation, and then they hear the story and they get registered because of it.
And Joanna, you're getting to be like a public speaker.
She's
right?
so good at
all of a
this.
sudden,
She
like,
really
you know what I mean?
is.
Listen, I don't know how many people are here, but like you're in front of all these people, you know what I'm saying?
Was it 5,600 people? I think it
Yeah,
was that
it's
night.
a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
finally we got her to laugh a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
That's
it's hard. It's like, obviously this wasn't her life plan to be thrown into this
Right.
new,
No, 100%.
role, and I think she's done it with grace. And every day is different, and it's okay to be human. I think anyone that's watching here, the tears you can relate to if you've ever loved somebody in your life. That immense loss. If you've never experienced it, you're very lucky. But everyone's going to experience that someday, and it's just very inspiring to still.
I always say that if you look in the TV and you believe that you can feel, you know what I mean. Now, true, when you're walking to drop the puck, here's the question: because you're in uniform.
No.
Okay, so when you're walking out to drop the puck, are you scared to fall?
Absolutely. And the lady told me, take big steps so you don't fall because the rug moves. So then it freaked me out. So then the whole time I'm walking out there, I look like I'm galloping because I'm taking these big old steps. It looks so awkward.
Yeah.
And then she tells me, whatever you do, pose for the photo and don't drop the puck till he tells you to drop it. And I was like, okay, I got it. No worries. So I go out there, and then the players come over, and I'm smiling for the photo, and we're still smiling. And then the announcer was like, Ashley, go ahead and drop the puck. And then everybody starts laughing. 5,600 people started laughing, and I was like, they set me up. They set me up because they told me not to drop the puck.
And so you drop the puck, and they hit it one time, right, or whatever they do, and then they give it back to you.
Yeah, and then both hockey players
Shake your
shook my hand. It was an amazing experience, and again, that was all possible because of Nevada Donor Network.
Yeah.
And I love what I do and spreading awareness
Yeah,
and
100%.
promoting it and stuff. But ultimately, I do it because I enjoy it. But then they always reward me or highlight me in different ways, and I'm so grateful for.
How
every
many times? I want to give everyone just a call to action to do
do it
this.
right there.
So I'm going to tell you this.
Right, you
We
look
have
in
a
that camera.
7.5-year-old, my fiance and I, and every time we pull up next to a law enforcement officer, every time there's a fire substation in Henderson right by our house, every time they drive by us, of course they'll honk the horn for us. But every time we pull up next to an officer, number one, and again, this is personal, we never have our son refer to a law enforcement officer as a cop. They're always a police officer. We teach him respect at a very young age.
That's good.
But also, we all put down our windows and we say, thank you so much for your service. And we always do
We
that
do that
to him.
too.
And it's just something again, inspire, be an example to our younger generation. I remember recently we went to Chinatown to try out a new Claw arcade and did a couple restaurants down there, and we pulled up next to a Metro officer who also happened to be a woman, and we told her, thank you so much. And he said it himself, because sometimes we have to prompt him, he gets a little shy, and he said, thank you so much for your service. And she was like, oh my gosh, you little angel, this is why I do what I do, because of little angels. I want to protect them just like you, and you're going to be a good young man when you grow up. So this is what Nevada Donor Network does to tell them thank you for supporting us. But like as a citizen of our community, you can also just make their day by saying thank you for your service. Bring your kiddos if you have them up to them and ask for a badge, sticker, like all those little things.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's showing them that they're important to us and what they do for our community, protecting us, but also it's, again, creating that camaraderie between our officers, being approachable and all of those things. So that's very important to us in our household, and I encourage you all listening to do the same.
And I will tell you that we feel the same, and it's very important, because when we talk about always the badge and what it means when Trooper Wellman's here and we have other troopers and esteemed people come on, it's exactly, you know what I mean? Like we always say, like, you know, be thankful, you know, like, and things like that. And so that does stem from the younger. And so that's why, you know, when we talk about the things, right, we're out there, you know, Trooper Wellman and all the other troopers are out there protecting the roadways, because unfortunately there are unscrupulous people that are doing very, very bad things and making, and I always come back to, okay, that when it comes to the Nevada Donor Network and donating and things like that, okay, unfortunately, some of those people that had to make the choice of the donation was not their intended goal, and it was the reason was because someone else made a wrong choice, right? And that's why this happened. And so, you know, we have a very distinct problem here in Las Vegas, right, with our speeding and our drinking and driving and our wrong way driving, you know, and these type of things. And so we need to stop these things so we don't have people having to make those choices. And so that we have to. I want to highlight both things. Does that make sense? Because we love Joanna, and we love the advocate, right? It just really is really horrible that she had to be put in that because of another person's choice, right? And so. But yeah, tell everybody about Nevada Donor Network. We'll lighten up the mood. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
But I like this.
It's
because when it comes to the Trooper Talk, it's so important. You know, I mean, like it.
We shouldn't even be doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
It just makes my blood boil. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Because Trooper May was a wonderful man, and not because of his choice, he's not here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he did an honorable thing, and then he was able to, I guess, achieve the ultimate success, right? Which is to be able to give, right? I guess we can consider that, but it really just gets under my skin that, you know, that Joanna had to go through these type of things, in that way, right?
Yes, definitely.
And that I guess ultimately comes down to, you know, where, you know, as bubbly as a personality you are, which is fantastic, because that's what you need.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Donation, organ tissue donation's not easy to talk about, and you know, I think that is something that I always constantly acknowledge, is that it's not an easy conversation to have, but having it is very important. If you're still on the fence and you want to learn more about donation, envydonor.org is our website, and we have just tons of information, common myths and misconceptions, some of the facts about how you can help someone when you do get registered. But you know, if you're inspired after having these conversations, you don't have to wait to go to a Nevada DMV office to get registered. You can actually register online at registerme.org, and that link is all at envydonor.org, our website. And you can do it now.
Yeah, what was that hashtag? What was that hashtag?
Slash DPS, right? Yeah, envydonor.org /
And I want to get to the next picture, but here's what I want to tell you. Somebody came into the store the other day. They said, listen, I watched that Trooper Talk. By the way, ladies, I don't know if you know, but it's on 3 times a week now.
Yeah.
Okay? And so they came in and they go, listen, next time you do the Trooper Talk, you need to talk about people running red lights. And I said,
Yes.
I go, okay. I said, well, let me just tell you. I said, generally speaking, I said, you know, we don't talk about the roadways, right? Because we talk about generally like the highways, because that's generally where the state police are doing their business, right? And they go, well, make sure you do it. So I'm just looking at the camera right now. I'm telling you right now, okay? Please stop running these red lights because, you know, it's ridiculous, right?
I actually will send you a video today, and we can talk about it next week for that individual, of a vehicle last week that ran a red light and the impact it had and the crash that it caused. Luckily, everyone was, for the most part, okay, but all could have been prevented if they just went and ran the red light. And the reason being was because they were running late for work. But they put everyone's life in jeopardy, including their own, and it could have been much worse. But I'll definitely send you that video because I think it's one of those seeing is believing.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about it then. But I agree. You know, we handle crashes all the way up to the first intersection off of an off-ramp. So we do handle, you know, traffic control devices, and unfortunately, many of those are caused from people not yielding to the yellow, failing to yield on a right, you know, a solid red, making sure it's clear to enter the intersection, and just obeying all traffic laws. So we can definitely talk about that next week, and I will send you that video.
Yeah, 100%. And when you see the green, that doesn't mean put your foot to the floor.
Well, I was just gonna say,
You know
that
what I
every
mean?
time
Right.
it turns green,
It's yellow. Oh, it's about to change.
and look
Yeah.
and
Right.
see what everyone's trying to do.
It's not worth
because-
it. It is not worth it.
It is not worth it. So we have the 2023 Special Olympics. We love the Special Olympics, and so we see you out there with the table, and it's very recognizable, blue and green, right?
Yes,
Right?
definitely.
And so tell us what we're doing here.
Well, we just really like to, whenever, you know, Nevada State Police Highway Patrol invites us to support them at an event, we totally love to partner and also support other nonprofits, especially the Special Olympics of Nevada. It's just such a great nonprofit to give back to. So we got invited out, and I know you've participated in it before. What do they do?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I've never actually
so
been
that,
to the
you know,
event.
so this is another thing that you do
So this
to
is
do this, right?
This is the Polar Plunge, and it's a statewide event. Up north, they do it in Lake Tahoe, which is freezing.
Yeah.
So very grateful to be in Las Vegas for this event because we do it at Cowabunga Bay, but it still is very cold. The reason it's important to highlight Nevada Donor Network is because we wouldn't even be able to participate in the Polar Plunge if it wasn't for Nevada Donor Network. They actually not only sponsor 5 of our troopers, but 5 of Clark County School District police officers, 5 of Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and 5 of North Las Vegas Police Department. The only agency they didn't sponsor was the Henderson Police Department because they had got a sponsorship from a car dealership. But it is important for us to give back to our community, and especially our Special Olympics athletes. And these funds, they raised over $80,000 this year just for the Polar Plunge alone. And all those funds will go year long to sending these athletes to competitions to compete, their equipment, all of the above. And so all that was made possible, like our participation, because of the Nevada Donor Network. It's over $125 a participant to partake in this event. And I mean, we talk about it before, you know, we work for the state, you know, and it's hard for us to come up with money like that. And, you know, Nevada Donor Network is a nonprofit themselves, and yet they don't hesitate whenever I call to ask for help or assistance, especially when it's for a good cause to give back to the community. And so it just meant so much to these athletes, as well as all of us law enforcement officers that got to participate in this event. And a lot of it was made possible because of Nevada Donor Network. So we're so appreciative. I've done it the last 2 years. This year, I actually was a little selfish because it was my wedding anniversary, so I did step out, and I let somebody else take my spot, but they had such a blast.
But you do it, though? So what do you do?
So we run,
I wanna
we
hear
all
this.
stand along.
You're in your uniform or like in a
We all wear our Trooper Micah May shirts, and we all line up on the wave pool, and on 3 we all run into the wave pool together, and it's freezing, and we all usually swim all the way out to the wall and then come back, but you plunge, and it's just a fun event to
Really?
raise money for these athletes. Yeah.
and it's cold and then when
Oh, it's freezing. And again, up north they do it in Lake Tahoe.
Lake
so
Tahoe in the summer.
they come out with
freezing,
icicles
so-
attached to them.
yeah, that's crazy.
Wow.
It's a good cause.
We love the Cowabunga Bay, okay, because they do a lot of things, and we always see them around the community doing different things, and you know what I mean, and all that type of stuff. And again, another thing, right, Joanna, of why you want to be a part
Yeah.
of this is because, maybe in the time that, it's not so great, there's somebody there that can just pick you up for a moment and say, oh, come here or do this.
Yeah,
and
that
you're
literally
like,
could
you're
be
like,
Joanna working
oh,
the
I
table,
really
yeah.
didn't want to, but okay, I'll do it, right?
Yeah. I was actually trying to be a volunteer for that table, and it filled up. And I had to do something with my kids that morning anyway. So
Yeah.
it was on the list, but I was like, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're trying, right? And so what's important is that if someone was to ask you, and have a very serious conversation with you, you could, be vulnerable and talk to someone, right?
So I will share an experience. When I was tabling at a high school, there was a teenager that came up, and I said, hey, do you know anything about donation? And she had just lost her aunt. And my heart dropped. Like, you could tell this girl is still going through it. You could just see it in her face. She's like, yeah, I just lost my aunt a week ago. We donated her organs. I'm like, that's incredible. And you could just see her friends were like, oh, crap. A week. That's insane. This girl's at school picking up her feet. And I told her, I was like, look, this is hard. This sucks. But thank you so much for your family donating your aunt's organs. This is great. I want you to know, because I told her my story. I was like, look, I lost my husband, and we donated his organs as well, and it gets better. It's hard, it sucks right now, but it gets better. And it was cool to be able to share that with some random teenager I met doing a tabling. And that's why I want to do this, is to reach out to people and possibly meet somebody who is going through that.
And do you know who has his organs?
I don't. I'd love to know.
Would you know? Like,
We would love
to know.
So you would want to know to.
Yeah, so basically the process with communicating is that both parties have to, want to be involved in the communication. And
okay.
there are some donor families, and I know Joanna's like me in this way, where I would want to know them. I want them to be a part of my family.
Right, of course.
I want to get, But then there's some donor families that lose maybe a loved one that they didn't really have a connection with anymore. The circumstances were, just a unique set of circumstances that made it that they don't necessarily want to talk about their loved one to someone else. There's just a myriad of reasons why people write or don't write. I think from the recipient side, sometimes there's a feeling of, well, I'm not sure how to share enough gratitude that their loved one gave me this gift. But I think sometimes I encourage any recipient who's watching, just put your pen to the paper. If you've been on the fence and thinking about it, I know how much it means to families that would like that communication. And at the end of the day, even if your donor family does not accept the communication and doesn't want it, there is something to be said about having that moment for yourself of putting that down on paper and, getting that out there, that gratitude. So I encourage you, if you've thought about it on both ends, donor family side as well as a recipient family or recipient themselves, write the letter. Because I think there's something very cathartic in sharing those feelings and getting them out there. But yeah, I mean, we've had some really interesting circumstances where someone, a donor mother that you might have heard about the story, Michael Sigler, her son passed away right before his high school graduation. And she immediately wrote letters to all of his recipients. They're not allowed to share identifying information in the letters. There's certain criteria, but I think she shared enough that people could find the story because it did go so viral. It was the first honor walk that UMC had publicly shared. Obviously, it was right before graduation. He was a young man. There's just a lot of factors to it that it shared. And so when he finally received the letter, his lung recipient, his transplant center had been holding on to it for a while because sometimes they have a time period that they wait to share those. And then the day he received it, his daughter-in-law went on to Google, found the story, then went onto Facebook, found his mom, and sent her a Facebook message. Now, do we encourage that? No.
True.
But
I'll
with
take
the day
Right.
and age, you know, some people would be like, yeah, absolutely. And
Heck
so
yeah. Facebook me.
we spent his 20th birthday actually at his lung recipients, Mikey's lung recipients ranch in Texas. And they released balloons and did fireworks for him. And I mean, she talks to Harold like on a weekly basis. Like they got this giant, just southern, they're from deeper south, but they now live in Texas. And I mean, just such different people in life. And he had, the very unique thing about his story is he had received 5 offers before he received Mikey's offer. And by the time he had received Mikey's offer for his lungs, the doctor said, like, at his 5th offer, like, you won't likely survive another offer. And so he received Mikey's lungs, double lungs. All the offers before were single lungs, and just things had happened with the donor's medical suitability that just it didn't work out. And then he received Mikey's lungs, and literally when he woke up, they said he was going to spend 8 weeks in the hospital. He spent like only a couple weeks in the he was walking as soon as they pulled him out of the medical coma after the transplant. He received his color like just everything in his life changed and immediately almost. And so there are certain instances, but you know, his heart went to another 18-year-old, and they have not heard from him. And, you know, again, the maturity of someone that young writing that kind of letter.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know if I
you
would,
just really don't know when
I
they'll
don't know
be
if
ready.
I don't know if I would want to know, or you know what I mean. But
Yeah.
I think that the important thing is that, which I didn't know, and again, one of the takeaways that I would like to highlight here is the fact that when you are an organ donor, you don't have to communicate.
No.
Right. And so, like you said, there are some people who want to know and some people that don't. It would be very difficult. Joanna, I would say to you that you've had many difficult decisions that you've had to make, and that would probably be up at the top,
Yeah.
you know, on a personal level. But I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I'd be definitely having a conversation. All right. The IPOF, which we had, Chelsea was there, Lieutenant Stunkel was there, her husband was there, and you know what's really cool is that I told them about we had last week, how we had them on there for the school,
Yeah.
right? So let's see. Johnny made a video. So we're here with Juan. Juan, the Clark County School District Police is a huge supporter of the IPOF, and we're here today at the Friendly Ford for the raffle
Yes.
of a tremendous Bronco, right?
Yes, we have a brand new Bronco. It's beautiful. It's pretty much every man's dream, and then we're selling 2,500 tickets. And once we have the 2,500 tickets, they're going to raffle it off to the lucky winner.
First of all, thank you for all the first responders that came out today, took time away from work to be here. We really appreciate it. I just want to thank Ed, Steve's not here, Keith, and the entire Friendly Ford family for everything you've done for us. This is probably the biggest fundraiser that we've ever done, and we're really excited. We have a goal of 2,500 tickets that I know we're going to meet with your guys' help. We need the community's help, we need Friendly Ford's help, and all of you guys to spread the word, because if we sell 2,500 tickets, that's 6 figures worth of money that we can help so many law enforcement families in this community. It'll make a huge difference for our organization. So thank you so much. We have just this really small token of our appreciation for you, Ed, for everything that you've done for us. And we know next year will be even bigger and better. So thank you all so much. Thank you to my board, everything that you guys do. We couldn't do it without you. They're all volunteers. They volunteer their time. So thank you.
So Neil is part of IPOF, which is Injured Police Officer Fund, and it's a nonprofit here in town that supports families and officers that have been injured in the line of duty. So you know firsthand, IPOF helped you when Micah was, tragically killed in the line of duty, and they step up, they help fundraise for families in need and officers, and this is their biggest fundraiser that they've done. So anybody can purchase a ticket. What's the website for IPOF?
So it's IPOF.Vegas. Yeah, so they can go there. They can. The basis is that the Friendly Ford, he's the original owner, and it was 52 years or something, and they were fantastic and they were really nice. And so the IPOF, it's IPOF.Vegas.
Yes.
You can go there. You can spend $100 for one ticket or $500
For 6
tickets. And the basis is that you get the Bronco
Isn't that awesome?
after they sell 2,500 tickets. And again, one of the things that I like to highlight there, Lieutenant Stunkel is a lieutenant in the Nevada State Police. She has children. Her husband is a captain. We highlighted them last week, and the fact that they're still out there. And so, again, we wanted to highlight strong women, right? But we also wanted to, the fact of that this is a tremendous organization that can do, great things for, and the Nevada State Police is part of it.
Yeah, so they just kicked this off like last week. So this is all brand new.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're just starting to promote it. So
Right. So
spread
I
the
just
word.
wanted to put this on there as something interesting. Maybe break up the mood a moment.
Yeah.
Let's see. There we go. Ah, yes. This is one of my favorites. I haven't seen this video. Let's see.
And then we're going to recognize people for longevity. So one of the things that we need to focus on, especially when we're losing people, is we need to kind of highlight those people that have been here for 10 years, for 15 years.
Please join me in congratulating Major Kevin Honey on his promotion 6 months later.
Lieutenant Ivan Pittman, identification number Paul 3183, is promoted to the rank of captain and will transfer from PNP Southern Command to Nevada Highway Patrol Duty Station Las Vegas Southern Command.
Certificate of Commendation, the Department of Public Safety. This is to certify that the Director of the Department of Public Safety and the Colonel of the Nevada Highway Patrol has awarded the Life-Saving Ribbon. Trooper of the Year Award presented to Trooper Travis Perkins, Southern Command, in recognition of your exceptional service to the citizens of the state of Nevada. The certificate says, in recognition of your exceptional service to the citizens of the state of Nevada and your outstanding contribution to the Department of Public Safety and the Nevada Highway Patrol. Sergeant Brandon Crawford, Southern Command's Supervisor of the Year. This year's recipient, Administrative Assistant 3, Sarah Toms of Southern Command, in recognition of your exceptional service to the citizens of the state of Nevada and your outstanding contributions to the Department of Public Safety and the Nevada Highway Patrol.
We would like to recognize is Sammy Valley from, or AKA, some of you know her as Vital Shots.
For 15 years of service, we have Sergeant Brian Drone, Trooper James LaRose, Trooper Joseph Albano, and CVSI Mike Wade.
First of all, Trooper Wellman was very emotional there. You didn't see it. When the Vital Shot lady was there, okay, which we will talk about, okay. But here's the thing: I love going to these award ceremonies because I love seeing the camaraderie between all the different troopers and all that type of stuff, and it's just it's a very, very special time, for us to be able to watch and to be able to be a part of. And it's great that the people are getting promoted and all that type of stuff, and we always like to say we never want to forget about your husband, and so we always want to bring that into light whenever we do any type of things like this, because he couldn't have that opportunity, but we always want him to know that he was very special and that we truly care about him, and we're always thinking about him. Right, Trevor?
Yeah, absolutely. The reason I was emotional was
Right.
because the civilian award went to Sarah Toms, and that award was in honor of Karen Hill, one of our admin that had lost her. She had lost a battle to some health complications, but ultimately it was because of COVID too. And so she was one of our first that we lost to COVID, and she just was such a special person at our agency, and so the fact that we made an award in her honor, it was just super special. And then Sarah Toms was her best friend at work, so the fact that she was the first recipient
Right.
of it was just tight feeling, yeah. And then when I highlighted Sammy immediately after that, I actually made a video Sammy Valley is a photographer here in town. If you don't follow her, I highly encourage you. Her social media handles is Vital Shots. Pretty much every first responder follows her. She is phenomenal at capturing emotion in a photograph. And I made a little collage, or I'm sorry, a video of her work. And she captured so many moments in Micah's funeral. One of our troopers that also lost the battle to COVID, Cliff Fontaine, as well as other tragic events here in town, other officers that have lost their lives. I just had all those photos in there, and it just brought back a lot of memories. So, but I needed her to know we appreciate her, because it's not easy to photograph those kind of things. And I know she carries that weight, but she does it for us to cherish those moments, to capture those that raw emotion that we were feeling at those times. And so, yeah, it was really important to highlight her.
Yeah, and we really appreciate the fact that when someone comes here and it allows themselves to be vulnerable and be able to go onto camera. And so when it is that any of the troopers come on or somebody like that, you know, we talk about very serious issues about when they have to pull their firearm, when they have to shoot people, when they have to do things. Again, highlighting the fact that we never want to put them into the position where they have to make a choice to put themselves in harm's way to protect the public in any way, right? And so, you know, it's very important that we want to always highlight that. But if it is that something does happen, the Nevada Donor Network is always there to heed the call, right?
Yes, definitely. We're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Our team is always working, and, you know, obviously it's very tough situations that lead to where we are, but the solace that, you know, brings to a family that lost a loved one, that's why we do what we do. I've been with Nevada Donor Network for almost 6 years this month, so it just really, that mission and that drive to save and heal lives and bring that hope and legacy is very, very important.
And when you see stuff like this, does it get you emotional or not really?
I think this is really cool.
Yeah.
I love watching other troopers be rewarded for the heroic things they do, because I think they should be recognized. There are things they do on a daily basis that people don't know about. Like, Ashley was telling me that one of the troopers saved that lady's life.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he performed CPR. He was at his child's soccer game, and the woman went into cardiac arrest, and him and his brother-in-law, who was actually a Metro officer as well, was off duty, performed CPR, and saved her life. So
yeah.
And that's why I love going to them. You know what I mean? Because you see that. And I did talk to a few of the troopers, right? The new captain said, Captain Pittman, I went right. I have no shame.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I go up to them all. You know what I mean? A lot of them turn me down. I'm like, listen, you're going to come on Trooper Talk? And they, you know, most of them, they'll like turn their back and they're like, no, leave me alone, go away. You know what I mean?
just let Neil do his thing.
But I will tell you, every single person in that room, I gave one of my window decals. They stuck them in their pocket. I don't know what they might have thrown them in the trash after, but they all took them.
No.
But the thing is that it was very special. You know what I mean? And I did ask, and I have had the opportunity to ask some of the troopers that were there that same day that were on the road, and unfortunately, none of them have come in because they didn't want to share. But I always ask.
It's very hard.
And so it's very difficult. But you know, we're always there. You know what I mean? So that's why I appreciate, you know, the talking and stuff like that, and I appreciate these things when I go there. Johnny went last time. I didn't get a chance to go. All right, let's talk about this. The I-15, due to an overturned tractor trailer. We talked about this last week, Trooper Wellman, right?
Yeah, we did. It was a different overturned tractor trailer, and I told you about this one that had happened that morning.
Right.
And this is the photo, so you can see it. They didn't have enough reaction time when they were taking the off-ramp, striking the impact attenuator, causing them to overturn. And that traffic right there, luckily the driver's okay, but that was close for at least, I think, 5 or maybe 6 hours.
So, ladies, this is what we like to talk about on the Trooper Talk, so that people know to, you know, just be a little bit safer when they drive and stuff like that.
We just posted a video about this.
Let's see.
Nevada State Police, how can I help you?
We are the first responders.
We bring the calm to the storm. I have troopers en route to you. Stay on the lane with me.
On your worst day, I'll be here for you.
6693, status check.
I am the first voice you hear when you sign on, the last when you sign off, and I am there for you through your entire shift.
I'm committed to the safety of Nevada and our communities.
I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully perform the duties of a Nevada State Dispatcher, that I will act in all times with respect for the law and the good of the community, that I will uphold the rules and regulations of my department, and that I will perform my duties to the best of my ability.
Thank you, dispatch.
So I've heard that that they're their lifeline. When it comes to the dispatch and stuff like this. And 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to call one of the dispatch because I was frantic on the road because I was faced with the wrong way driver, and they were calm. I mean, I was like, I'm here, and they were like, okay, well, you're not there. You know what I mean? Let me explain where the road is, and let me explain. And so, the dispatchers, and are civilians, right? And so we like to highlight the fact of that a civilian can hold a job with the Nevada State Police, which is what happened with the Karen Hill, right? Right. And so, it's very important. That doesn't mean, if you want to work with the Nevada State Police or you want to do something like that, that you can become a dispatcher, you can become something of a civilian. And the one, when they were talking about last week, how when they were going to a different position, right? How the admin was helping them, sign up for this and make sure they didn't have the paperwork for this. And, there's all these back things that you don't read about, but there's actually somebody behind the scenes that's going, let's make sure that everything's according to plan.
Yeah, we wouldn't function without our admin staff as well as our dispatch. And this week is telecommunication week, and it's just really, you're going to see a lot of posts from us. And pretty much nationally, you'll see a lot of posts from more than just first responders.
We posted a video today thanking them as well.
Yeah, everybody's just saying thank you because it is so hard what they do, and we could not be first responders and do our job without them. And our dispatchers alone handle not only the 911 calls, what's your emergency, where are you at, your wrong way driver, they're answering that 100%. Call, but then they're also dispatching to the troopers on their side, hey, can you be en route to this call, this location? They're doing both of the tasks, where majority of dispatchers do one or the other, 911 intake, or they do dispatch for the patrol, and ours do both. And so they're just phenomenal individuals that we could not function without them. And just like you said, they're our heartbeat, our lifeline, and they're just amazing people that we can't wait to highlight this week.
Yeah, 100%. So we want to thank them for this week. You know what I'm saying? All right, what about this one? Total lives lost in 2022. We don't know if any of those are organ donors, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, if one life is lost, it's too many. Yeah. And these people are out of control.
Yeah.
And they're doing impairment and speeding. The other morning I was driving and it was nice. You know what I mean? You're driving and all of a sudden, and you see this person in a 4-door sedan car like it's the Autobahn. Yeah. With the small tires and the thing and the windows, you know what I'm saying? And so these tires are not made to go 125 miles an hour around curves and...
No, absolutely not. Everybody needs to slow down. Our top 2 leading causes are impairment and speed. And,
it's just too much. You know what I'm saying? Ladies.
Yes.
What do you think?
Joanna?
Talk. It was great.
All right.
Happy
So here's what you got to do.
Just kidding.
Okay? Just before we're done, okay, I need you to do a couple things. Okay. I need you to look at the camera here and tell anybody that wants to do the Nevada Donor Network or anything like that how to find you, where to go, all that stuff. So go ahead.
Nevada Donor Network encourages everyone that tuned in today to please head to envydonor.org, learn more about our cause, get registered to be a hero, and just like Joanna, if you'd like to give back of your time, please become a volunteer. envydonor.org/volunteer. We're always looking for those people that are, want to give back of their time and help reach our community and spread awareness. But we truly appreciate your want to become a hero and really encourage you to make that decision to become an organ, eye, and tissue donor.
Joanna, your turn. Look in the camera. Look at that, huh? You're. What do you mean? You've been doing all these things. You kidding me? You just need a microphone. You know what I mean? Tell everybody, about the Nevada Donor Network and stuff like that. And I will tell you on behalf of myself and everyone here and behalf of everyone that's watching that we do love you. We truly love your husband. We appreciate what you've done. And for his ultimate sacrifice, there's no way that we can give back. But the only thing that we can do is we can be there for you ultimately to support you in every single way. And we truly do. And so we truly feel that from our heart. So tell everybody,
Well, thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
So if you are bored at home with nothing to do, definitely volunteer for Nevada Donor Network. And if you want to make an impact on the community and help out, become a Nevada State Trooper. We definitely need both. Nevada Donor Network and Nevada Highway Patrol have been the most amazing corporations. What are you guys? Organizations.
Yeah.
They've been amazing, and I know when you join the team, it's like, I know everybody says this, but they become a family, and it's really cool. It's a lot of fun. I know there's a lot of hard work into it, but it's worth it. At the end of the day, it's worth it.
And where do they get the mug?
Where do we get this mug?
Troopertalk.com. Yeah,
Trooper
there you
Talk.
go. See, it's perfect.
Troopertalk.com.
Let's hope.
Trooper Wellman, very quickly, NevadaStatePolice.com, right?
Yes, NevadaStatePolice.com. If you want to see firsthand what it's like to be a state trooper, you can come do a ride-along with us. I highly encourage it, as well as if you want to see Parole and Probation Division, you can also do a ride-along with them. There's no other way to find out if this is the right fit for you than to walk in our shoes. We can't thank the Nevada Donor Network enough for everything they do for us. They're an amazing community partner that we share so many memories with. And Joanna, thank you so much for coming on today. I know this was not.
Thanks. I appreciate you ladies coming.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't what maybe you were thinking, but like it really is impactful. You know what I mean? I thank you, ladies. All right, now we just got to wave at this camera. We're gonna say goodbye. All right, so wave goodbye.
You, everybody.
All right, see you later.
Thank you.